the themes, it all started here actually in New York. When I came here in 1966, I was in England, in London, and even when I was in London, the issue about the war in Vietnam was significant. I think I went to many sit-ins. 1968 is when I established my studio. And that was a very, so many things have happened during 1968. It's a very, very, it's the year of chaos. There was assassination of Robert Kennedy, of Martin Luther King. And there were a lot of demonstration against Vietnam. New York University was shut down during, so many times we interrupted. And here the dominant scene was the pop art of Warhol and others. You know, some of it responded a little bit, but there was not really, I did not find a lot of interesting work that responded to the subject before. So when I started with this large painting, I went directly into the theme of the war. And I thought, you know, the war in Vietnam, this was thousands of miles away, but New York was a state of chaos. Under the atmosphere of Vietnam was incredible here. It was incredible in New York. And then I was able to show this work at this place on 76th Street, which was very central. But you know, of course, dealers, this is why many dealers, when I talked with them about the subject, they told me, we cannot show things about human suffering because we really here never had war in America. So the people are going to find it very difficult. They like to go to see something pleasant, like, you know, beautiful face, beautiful this, beautiful. They're not going to enjoy all these wars. And immediately, a year later, the war in Lebanon broke out. And then I shifted from Vietnam and started to paint about Lebanon. And this went on for several years, even though in between I was doing many other things, like the Faust series and many other paintings. But the main focus was the war theme. And then, when I was doing Vietnam, I was doing this, and then Lebanon, I thought, it is still part of our history that we look few more years back, look back to World War II and bring some of these powerful impact of two important things, terrible things that happened. One was the atomic bombing in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the other was the Holocaust in Europe, you know, with the death of millions of people. And so I did also these two series, which became incorporated into the Split of Life painting. So it's a continuation of what, and look at it today, 25, 30 years later since Vietnam, and I'm working on what? On the Iraq War. Again, it's a sub. Why we respond, and I think an artist cannot detach himself completely from the world, make believe that we don't live in this world. We are part of it, and we respond to it in an artistic way. And this is why it's so important to bring up whatever expression, whatever sentiment, whatever feeling, whatever vision the person has. We hear there is a war in Vietnam, but I have a vision of the war too, not only, you know, of the stupidity, of the nonsense, of the horror, of the suffering, of the, what for? Why all this? So what would the artist sit aside and do something completely different? I always thought we have to be involved. So at that time, you know, it was art for art's sake, but we could not touch political subjects. But I touched them and I immersed myself into them, and this is why in my exhibition it was called Apocalipsis según nabilKanso. It was the word, so El Pintor del Apocalipsis, painter of the apocalypse, because they saw this as my vision of the apocalypse. You know, when you paint so much chaos, so much war, so much human suffering, so much brutality. But this is something that exists. It is a continuation it's perpetuating, it is affecting our life. Of course, look at people here, they turn their back, they say this has nothing to do with us. But it is having to do with it. Thousands of people, thousands of American soldiers have been killed. Their family have been orphaned because they have children, they have wives. Was it worth it? Was this necessary? And now today we have another war. So it's a very important subject. It's a very important subject. We have to respond to it. I respond to it